Have you ever bought something, walked away, and then wondered why you even needed it in the first place? Before we go deeper, if this has ever happened to you, stay with me, because this might explain more than you expect. I used to think I just lacked discipline whenever I bought things I did not actually need. I would open an app, scroll for a few minutes, and suddenly something felt impossible to resist. It was never planned, never necessary, but somehow it always felt justified in the moment. And that is exactly where the story begins. Not with logic, but with emotion, quietly taking control. Because most of your spending decisions are not made with careful thinking. They are driven by how you feel. When you are stressed, buying something feels like relief, like you are rewarding yourself for surviving the day. When you are bored, shopping feels like stimulation, like something new is finally happening. And when you compare yourself to others, buying becomes a way to feel like you are keeping up. These moments feel small, almost harmless, but they are incredibly powerful when repeated over time, because each purchase gives you a short burst of satisfaction, a quick hit of something that feels good. That feeling does not last long, but your brain remembers it and starts craving it again later. So without realizing it, you begin to associate spending with feeling better, even if only temporarily. And that is when the pattern starts forming, quietly, consistently, and almost invisibly in your daily life. You are no longer buying things because you need them. You are buying because of how you want to feel. But here is what makes this even more dangerous than it seems on the surface. You believe the decision is yours, that you are fully in control of what you choose to buy. But in reality, there are invisible triggers everywhere, constantly influencing your behavior. From notifications to discounts, from colors to timing, everything is designed to catch your attention. And once your attention is captured, your emotions are not far behind. Because the moment you feel something, your ability to think rationally starts to weaken. That is when a simple product turns into something that feels necessary, even when it is not. And by the time you realize what happened, the purchase is already done. You tell yourself it was not a big deal, that you deserved it, that it does not really matter. But when this happens again and again, those small decisions start adding up in ways you did not expect. Not just financially, but mentally. Because you start feeling like you are losing control. And the worst part is, it does not feel like a big mistake. It just feels like normal life. Which is exactly why it is so easy to keep repeating the same pattern without questioning it. Now, here is where things get even more interesting. Because it is not just your emotions working against you. There is an entire system built to make sure you keep buying things, even when you do not need them. Every app, every store, every platform you use is carefully designed to guide your behavior step by step. From the moment you open it, you are being led through an experience optimized to increase your spending. Think about flash sales that create urgency, making you feel like you will miss out if you wait, or limited time offers that push you to decide quickly before you have time to think clearly. Even something as simple as free shipping can completely change how you evaluate a purchase. You might not need the item, but suddenly it feels like a waste not to take advantage of the deal. And then there's the way prices are presented, broken down into smaller and more manageable amounts. Instead of seeing the full cost, you see a monthly number that feels easy to accept. This is where things like credit cards and buy now, pay later options become extremely powerful, because they remove the immediate pain of paying, making the decision feel almost effortless. When you do not feel the loss right away, your brain treats the purchase as less significant. So you spend more freely, more frequently, and often without fully realizing the total impact. And after the purchase, something interesting happens that most people do not talk about enough. The excitement fades quickly, sometimes within hours or even minutes after buying. What is left is either indifference or a subtle sense of regret that you try to ignore. But instead of stopping, many people go back and repeat the cycle to chase that feeling again. You buy something new, feel good for a moment, then return to the same emotional baseline. This loop can go on for years, quietly draining your money without giving lasting satisfaction. And here is the key realization that changes everything once you truly understand it. This is not just about willpower. It is about being in an environment designed to influence you constantly. So if you keep blaming yourself entirely, you miss the bigger picture of what is actually happening. Because once you see the system, you can start stepping outside of it instead of being controlled by it. And that is the moment where real change becomes possible. Not through force, but through awareness. Now here's the part where you take your control back. Because awareness alone is not enough without action. You cannot completely escape the system, but you can change how you respond to it every single day. The first step is learning to pause, even for a few minutes before making any non-essential purchase. Because most impulsive decisions lose their power when you create a small gap between feeling and action. When you feel the urge to buy something, do not say no immediately. Just delay the decision intentionally. Tell yourself you can always come back later, and notice how the intensity of the desire starts to fade. The second step is identifying your personal triggers, because everyone has different emotional patterns. Maybe you spend more when you are stressed, or when you feel bored late at night scrolling endlessly. Maybe you buy things after comparing yourself to others and feeling like you are falling behind. Once you can name the trigger, you create distance between you and the automatic reaction. And that distance gives you the chance to choose differently instead of repeating the same behavior. The third step is shifting your identity from someone who consumes to someone who is intentional. Instead of asking, "What do I want right now?" you start asking, "What actually improves my life long term?" This small shift changes how you evaluate every purchase, making it harder for impulse to take over. You begin to see that not buying something can feel just as powerful as buying it. Because every time you resist an unnecessary purchase, you are reinforcing control over your behavior. And over time, that control builds confidence, because you trust yourself more with money decisions. This is how you slowly break the cycle. Not perfectly, but consistently enough to change your direction. You stop chasing short-term feelings and start building long-term stability and peace of mind. And that is when money stops being a source of stress and starts becoming a tool you actually control. So if this made you reflect on your own habits, I would love to hear what triggers your spending the most. And if you think this could help someone else, share this video so they can see what is really happening. Also consider following the channel, because we explore simple ideas that can completely change your financial behavior. Because at the end of the day, it is not about buying less. It is about choosing better.